Yo, what's up guys? Sports Dave with BettorOff here, and in this video, I'm going to give you all of my best bets for this weekend's action in the NFL, and I want to talk a little bit about last week's division round. Ready, set, bet.
Let's get ready to gamble!
What a crazy weekend we had last Saturday and Sunday in the NFL. That was the best round of playoff football I have ever seen. It had a little bit of everything. The games on Saturday were great defensive struggles. Both teams that lost, I thought should have won. The Bengals were able to turn 2 of Ryan Tannehill's 3 interceptions into points, and that was the difference in that game. I really do feel bad for Tannehill because he's going to have that label as a choker or an ass for as long as it's going to take for him to actually prove otherwise. The Niners and Packers game was like a pitcher's duel in baseball where both aces were pitching great and just a late error cost one team the game in the end. And the Niners were the benefactors of a blocked punt, which completely turned the tide of that game with about 5 minutes left, and they ended up winning. On Sunday, the Rams completely outplayed the Bucs for most of that game. But then all of a sudden, the ball started getting real slippery and they couldn't hang on to the rock. They fumbled 4 times to let Brady and the Bucs hang around. It was almost like they were doing their best Chargers impression, but they couldn't quite nail it, and they ended up sinking the Bucs in the end. But the cherry on top for the weekend was the Bills and the Chiefs game. Good God, what an epic matchup. 4th of July's got nothing on that game. And honestly, I could talk about that game for a while, but I won't. Couple things though. If Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes is what I have to look forward to in the years to come, I think that it's gonna be even more fun to watch than the Manning and Brady years. Now, on another note, I gotta talk about Tyree Kill and what he did toward the end of that game. This man, in the most desperate and crucial moment of a huge game, scored a touchdown with more flair than the nature boy himself. Woo! With a minute left in that game, down by 3, he caught the ball, broke free, hit the afterburners, and gave this man the peace sign before he even passed him. Let me tell you something, I played a lot of sports growing up. Football was my favorite, and I played running back. And when I scored a touchdown, I just handed the ball to the ref and I went back to the sidelines. I idolized Barry Sanders, so I wanted to act accordingly. But talking smack is an art form.
I must be the greatest. I told the world.
Some guys just got it like that.
That's right. Who do you think you are? I am.
And that was legendary. I mean, where he did it in that moment to have the presence of mind to throw the deuces up at the 15-yard line, the linebacker was a few yards ahead of this guy with an angle on him. The ball's on this guy.
I like balls.
And I know it's not very sportsmanlike and he could have cost his team a penalty. This is just one of those times when I say the juice was worth the squeeze. Because Tyree Kill, he just put himself in the Smack Talk Hall of Fame with that one. Kudos, bravo, congratulations Tyree. Alright, enough about last week. Let's move on to what's ahead in the conference championship games. Winners will be moving on to the Super Bowl. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and share my best bets with you. Before we do that though, please show your support for this channel by hitting that like button. We put out sports content a couple times a week, so if you'd like to stay tuned, make sure you subscribe and tap that bell. Got it? Good. Let's roll. The first game is going down in Arrowhead between the Bengals and the Chiefs. KC is favored by 7 with most books, but you might find the Bengals getting 7.5 some places. The total's at 54.5 in most places, so you can shop around for that as well. For those of you out there with a very short memory, these teams met up just a few weeks ago. The Bengals won that game. Yes, it was in Cincinnati, and the stakes were higher for the Bengals at that time. But they didn't just get lucky and win. The time of possession was about the same for that game. The Bengals outgained the Chiefs on offense, and they didn't commit any turnovers. Neither team did, in fact. They did win fair and square, and that's my point. But as we saw last week, playoff Pat Mahomes is a different beast, and the Chiefs being favorites at home makes perfect sense to me. But 7 or 7.5 points, it seems a bit steep. I expect the Chiefs to win this game, but if someone's holding a gun to my head to make a pick on this one, I guess I would take the points with the Bengals. But this ain't the deer hunter. I have 2 best bets for this game. First, I like the total points to go over 54.5. I expect a shootout, and I won't be surprised if they score 20 or 30 of those points in the 4th quarter alone. But my top bet for this one, I found this one on DraftKings. It's a prop bet on Joe Burrow's total combined passing and rushing yards to go over 296.5 yards. I mean, the guy threw for 446 yards in the first game, and the Chiefs are among the worst in the league at sacking the quarterback and defending the pass. And when he needs to, he can also get some rushing yards as well, so I'm feeling pretty confident about Joe Cool in this spot. By the way, guys, there are plenty of profiles that you can follow on BettorOff absolutely free. So if you want to just check it out, you can get onto the rankings page and see who's tearing up the books over the last 30 days, for example. And you can just sort it out by bet type and see who's got the best records against the spread or money lines or the totals. I definitely recommend doing that. Now, for the NFC Championship, we have a trilogy on our hands as the Niners get set to duke it out against the Rams to see who's moving on to the Super Bowl. The Rams are favored by 3.5 points just about everywhere I've looked, and the total's between 45.5 and 46. Let me first start by saying that as a football fan, it is an absolute pleasure to watch two coaches try to outthink and outmaneuver each other on this level. These are two of the best coaches this league has to offer. If you can appreciate a good chess match, that's what's in store for this game. However, with chess, the pieces on the board are limited to so many moves. Now, in football, the players on the field can provide different advantages that you wouldn't have in chess. So that said, I think that the Rams are the deeper squad. They have more playmakers on both sides of the ball. The real X factor is going to be the quarterbacks. On one hand, you have Stafford, who can make every throw imaginable, but sometimes he throws a stray bullet and gets his team into trouble. On the other hand, you have Jimmy G, who is more of a game manager, and there's nothing wrong with that. Jim McMahon and Trent Dilfer won Super Bowls as game managers, but sometimes Jimmy G manages to just go off the rails a bit, and he really puts the Niners in some bad spots. It's a tough call at 3.5, so let's look at a prop bet for Debo first.
Who? Debo.
With FanDuel, there's a proposition for Debo Samuel's total combined yards to go over or under 97.5. Debo is the premier alpha threat dog on this offense, and Shanahan will create enough touches to get this guy the ball, and I believe he'll crack 98 yards. He had over 130 combined yards in both of his previous matches this season. As for the whole game, look, these teams know each other so well, it's going to be hard for anyone to get caught off guard. I think that the Rams win, but I don't like laying 3 with the hook or even 3 even. I feel like I'm likely going to get a push if I'm giving up 3. So I'm going to parlay the Rams on the money line, and I'm taking the under at 46. I have a feeling I'm going to be sweating this one out to the very end. Alright guys, those are my picks for the NFL weekend. I'm sticking to them. Agree or disagree, leave me a comment down below, or you can properly say I told you so by documenting your own picks on BettorOff. You can also send me a message on there to talk some smack about any of my picks. Who knows, maybe we can induct another person into the Smack Talk Hall of Fame. In fact, I encourage a smack talk on one of my picks. I could probably guarantee that they're not all going to win. So if you want to let me have it and let me know, leave a comment on my profile on one of my picks. I'll decide who left the best comment, and maybe I'll share it in the Twitter sphere with all the trolls out there. And I'll give you your choice of a hat or a beanie if I think your comment's really good. Anyways, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We have plenty more content on the way on this channel, so subscribe and tap that bell. Until next time, best of luck banging on the books.